their attention. I hope you all enjoyed it. Subscribers picking up as well, which is nice to see. And yeah, really pleased about that. Anyway, we've come out again today. We're just zooming down the M4 towards our little filming spot down by the Severn Bridge. Probably a shorter video today. We're going to look, we had a few questions about the hot water system, where the tank is, how that works, at the pump for the shower as well, so we'll have a look at that. Plus a couple of little fixes we've done ahead of an upcoming trip. So yeah, hope you find it interesting, and look forward to more comments, questions, insights as we go along. Speak to you later.
So the question I get asked more than anything about the hot water system on this van is, where on earth do you put a hot water tank and how do you heat the water? So this is where the tank is underneath the van. I worked out that with the Truma Therme T2 it will actually fit up between the chassis rails, and it actually goes up quite high, so I built a box for it and insulated it, so we've had it down well below zero and it's never been a problem. And the fact that it's got the heater tube that runs up through the middle from the blown air heating generally means in the winter when you're using it, you've got the heating on anyway, so you haven't really got to worry about it getting frozen. I think we've been down to about -13 or something like that and never really worried about it. The pipes run it up along under the floor because I couldn't really get them inside where I wanted them, but again they're insulated, they've never caused a problem. I did add this 12 volt heating element and thermostat when I built the system, but to be honest I've never actually used it, so we don't really, there's no point taking it off, but it is a bit of a backup if the 240 should go. So there's actually 3 ways of heating water on this little system, which for such a compact little thing it's really quite good. So I'm going to get up off the floor now and then we'll go inside and we'll have a look at what's going on in there. The other question I get asked is, how do you pipe it and how do you pump the hot water system in when you've already only got cold water? Well, the nice thing about the Truma Therme system is it actually pumps the cold water from your normal tank. You basically tee it off so it goes down into the hot water system, and the water that's heated in the hot water tank stays separate. But as you use that hot water, it basically refills from your cold tank anyway, so other than putting some tees in the pipework and that sort of thing, you don't actually have to add another pump, so it keeps it really neat. And all I did was put a bigger capacity pump in so it could cope with lifting the water to the shower, and then you got nice pressure. That does mean that the sinks have got a bit more flow than what you really need, but if you just don't open the tap quite enough, then that seems to work fine. So like I said before, it's primarily a 240 volt system on the Truma Therme, and we do have the option of the blown air heating it up inside, and I think I've said before it does work to a point, but you have to be patient. The nice thing is in the winter that's fine. In the summer obviously the problem is that you don't really want to put your heating on, get the van too hot in the summer using the blown air heating to heat your water. So I did put an air diverter valve in the main warm air pipe under the floor of the van, which meant that you can just switch it so you can have the blown air heating going, but all of the heat is going through the tank and then outside rather than inside the van, and that has worked quite well. But again, if you're somewhere parked up and you actually do get organised, you can just leave it ticking over and it'll basically, heat your water up for no real battery drain. We do have the lithium battery to run the system off grid with the inverter, which is basically the best thing we did really. That is a standalone system. The inverter's in the bottom of the wardrobe here. We've just got a little switch up here. So if you're looking at that and wondering why has he put it on upside down, there is a reason for it. The only reason is it just makes the wiring a lot neater and a lot easier. It has annoyed the hell out of me and I've only just remembered that it is upside down, but it works just the same. But it's just one of those stupid things that people might look and go, is that bloke an idiot? Why has he put that on upside down? But that's the reason basically. So you put your inverter on, you then come down here, just a simple little switch, you just flick it on, a little green light will come on, You wait your 40-45 minutes depending on how cold the water is in the tank to start with. That'll heat up, and then the beauty of it is you don't actually have to worry about it. There's a what would you call it, a thermostat inside the tank, so when it hits 60 degrees I think it is, or 50 degrees, it will basically just cut in and out. So if you're on a site and you're plugged into 240, you know, you could pretty much leave it on indefinitely if you wanted, and you'd always have hot water available. Obviously it's not an instantaneous water system, so once it does start running down, it basically will start going cold, and then you'd have to wait again. But for our needs, it works absolutely fine, and it's a real bonus and a real plus for this van.
So just to talk briefly about the freshwater system. We have an inline carbon filter underneath the water tank which runs off the fresh. Obviously we all know that, you know, you need to be careful what you put in water tanks in general, and be aware of your water source. Although it does take some of the nasties out, it's not 100% effective. So what we tend to opt for is something like this, which is a water to go filtration system, where the filter is actually built in to the cap on the top. You can pretty much put whatever water you like in here, and then filter it through, and you have nice clean risk-free drinking water. Really great solution for your camper van. This is not an endorsement other than from me personally. I've used this in the van, I've also used it on trips to India, etc. Been able to drink water without worries. So a really nice solution, nice and lightweight as well. Some of the filters that we've seen are quite heavy, quite cumbersome, whereas this is actually a really neat solution. Doesn't add to your overall weight. So yeah, something to think about. One other little top tip for anyone that is using the Westfalia California Exclusive: the wardrobe doors do tend to be a little bit hair triggery, as we call it. We've been around the odd roundabout and it's flipped open, spilling all its contents all over the floor. Very, very simple fix on this one. We've basically put a little hook that you just toggle down, toggle back. You can see with the marking it's been a bit of a heavy use area, but it just gives you that extra bit of security. So if your latch does let go, the cupboard will stay closed.
So another question that we've been asked is, where'd you get your mosquito net from for the sliding door? And the truth of it is, I couldn't find one. Well, no, that's not true. I did find a brander up one, but I didn't actually think for the money it was actually that good. And I really wanted something which I could have zips on both sides rather than a sort of Velcro in the middle. So this is like evolution about number 5, and thanks to lockdown I learned how to use a sewing machine. But I learned how to use a sewing machine on mosquito netting, which I've latterly been told that's like one of the most difficult things you can do. So it's a, you know, it basically just rolls down like that. I made all these edgings, bought the zips and zipped them in. So basically what I wanted to be able to do was to either enter from the front or the back and get nicely sealed up. It's got a bit of a weight in the bottom there, so it just seals down by the cab step down here. I did come up with all sorts of fancy magnets and ideas like that in my mind when I was sort of designing it, but the truth of it was it didn't really need it. It really does a good job of keeping the bugs out. Obviously it's nice and see-through as well, so once you get used to it being there, it's not like you're sort of closing yourself in. And the nice thing is the way it rolls up out the way, it's not flapping in the breeze and that. Yeah, so another thing on the inverter system and actually patching it into the main electrics on the van via the original electric hookup. I thought about all sorts of fancy changeover switches and switches for this and switches for that. But in the end, I just decided the easiest thing to do was just make a short hookup cable to go into the standard inlet for the van, and then basically you don't have to worry that if you leave your inverter plugged in and you plug your van in on a site or something like that and the power's down, basically you could end up feeding the whole site through your inverter system. I know it would probably trip out straight away, but I just thought the safest and easiest thing to do was just have that plugged in there, job done, nice and simple, nice and easy to fix, nice and easy to keep an eye on, no extra wiring, keep everything as simple as you can. So another mosquito screen that I made for the van was to go on the rear cargo area, the bit that lifts up at the back, because we like to have that open of an evening if it's warm, and obviously when you go in and out, servicing the toilet, doing anything with the battery, there's a bit of storage there. We did used to get quite a few bugs hanging around the back of the van and coming in there, which is obviously annoying, and a lot of the places we go, there's so many bugs about, you really do want to keep them out as much as you can. So again, it's just something I've made, mosquito netting, some nice, I tend to use iron-on edging to seal the edges. It's a lot easier than sewing it on, and it seems to keep the shape quite nicely, and it's just fixed with a few screws and a bit of Velcro. But you know, it's really cheap, it's really easy to do, it's a nice little weekend project. So you might have noticed we do have 2 bike racks on this van. It might seem a bit greedy, but we tend to keep the bikes at the top, and usually there's a storage box on the bottom here. But the nice thing about this lower rack, and a bit of an issue with these vans, is you do need to get this sort of lower tailgate open to access the back and do the toilet. So I looked at what were the best racks, and basically the Atira Strada is for this, you know, for this van, or any van actually with any kind of tailgate on it. The fact that they slide away so far, but a lot of the racks that slide away actually tip and put the bikes at like 90 degrees, but this one, it just slides away nicely, and then you've got full access to all that luggage compartment in the back.
So there you have it, a little bit more of an in-depth view into some of the upgrades we've made to the Westfalia. Hope you found that interesting and insightful. In terms of what's next for us, we're preparing for our next trip, which is over to Scandinavia. We are leaving in a few weeks' time. First bit of the trip will be from Folkestone to Calais on the Eurotunnel, and then driving up through Germany, Denmark, crossing into potentially Norway on the boat from Hirtshals. Not 100% sure on that side of things yet, so watch this space and come along with us for the ride. If you have been enjoying the channel, please keep interacting with us, commenting, liking, all of that stuff. Please subscribe as well. It means a huge amount to us that people are enjoying this video. And like I said at the top, over, I think it's 1,200 views now, which actually has blown us away, to be honest. So please do consider subscribing to follow us along on our adventures. It does mean a lot to us. And as always, thank you for watching. Keep the comments coming. Bye.